What is considered cute when done by a kid, but illegal when done by an adult? Saying they want to marry their mum or dad. Yikes. My nephew, who is 5, was having a sleepover with my son, who is 4. We were eating dinner and somehow the subject of husband and wife came up, and my nephew asked who my husband was. I'm not married, so I explained that I didn't have one. He nonchalantly said, well, that's okay. 'Cause you will just marry your dad. He can be your husband. Nope, buddy. That's not how it works. Kids' concept of marriage is someone you love, and you want to spend the rest of your life with them. Ideally, you'll feel enough distance between family to marry your best friend, of whichever gender identity, as a preference. My 2-year-old stroked a flight attendant's behind with both hands as she was shifting something in the overhead bin next to our seat. Her skirt was very tight fitting, right in front of his face, and I guess he just thought it looked nice to touch. She whipped her head around at light speed with a glare to send the offender up in flames. When she saw it was just a toddler and I apologized, she looked relieved and laughed. The way she reacted, though, made me think she probably has that happen way too often by grown gross dudes. Baby-handed groping? Sounds like your kid could be president. You still gotta get a bit lucky though. I've been groping with my baby hands for decades, and it has yet to bring me any political success. Well, did you receive your $1 million handout? Handout? How dare you? I'm not an entitled snowflake. That was a loan. Huh. When I was 5 or so I went to a baseball game with my dad, and he wouldn't let me get popcorn. I really wanted popcorn. I walked away and sat on a random man's lap plus started eating his popcorn. I closed my eyes and pretended like I thought it was my father, like, oh dad, you got popcorn, thanks, because my child mind thought my dad would believe I thought it was him and wouldn't get mad. I don't think that would be very cute as a 21-year-old. Best thing I've read all day. Your father let 5-year-old you wander off and sit on a stranger's lap. Dad said, good idea, and went and sat on another man's lap and drank his beer. Taking shortcuts through PPLS yards. Those were the days. My friends and I did this to get to the next street, like it was our own property. Shit, I thought we were the only ones who hopped backyards. We called it missions though. Did you ever meet fellow backyard jumpers while jumping backyards? Though when I look back, I think that it was really stupid. If kids hopped my backyard, I'd yell at them, watch out for the raccoons and skunks. They're gonna get you. Close bracket. My friend, when he was just crawling apparently, was at a beach with his mum. She looked away for a second, and he'd crawled over to a nearby topless sunbather sleeping on her back, and tried to suckle on her. Obviously she screamed, and it didn't get far, but after much embarrassment they did all laugh it off. As an adult, that's probably prison time. Even as a literal baby it could have been much worse depending on the woman's response. At that age, a topless beach probably looks like a buffet. Frankly, at my age, a topless beach still looks like a buffet, slightly different connotation though. I'm imagining a buffet where 80% of the food looks awful, but it doesn't matter how good or bad it looks, because you can't eat any of it anyway. When they ask a question and follow it by saying don't say no, or when they wait outside your bathroom door asking details of what you're doing in there, like, do you have a penis or 2 butts? My son asks a question by saying, daddy, I think you'll say no to this, but that's cute. His son is 36. As Ray Romano said, when your kid discovers he can get an erection for the first time and runs out of the bathtub going pee pee big, it is cute and all. When grandpa does it, it is sad and disturbing. But grandpa has more reason to be happy. Gramps used harden. It was very effective. For now. So if 2 grandpas battle, does it never end? Eventually they run out of pages and you struggle until one faints. My 3-year-old ran up to a large man with a shirt too small for his body at a BBQ joint in Chicago and gave him a big hug. He thought it was cute and he walked away. When I asked her why she hugged him, she told me so I could lick him. She licked the man's underbelly. Imagine the man's utter confusion when he walks away and feels a cold patch on his underbelly, feeling refreshed. A baby can drink a bottle and fall asleep, and it's cute. When I drink a bottle and go to sleep I got problems. Cocaine will help keep you from falling asleep while you're busy drinking. But it also keeps me from catching a buzz from the booze. A perfect circle. An enraging circle. Brilliant. Now I have found a way to keep her up while she finishes her bottle. My mom always loved to tell how, when I was first being potty trained, when I had to go number 2, I would pull my pants down in the living room before trotting to use the toilet, pants around ankles. Something tells me it wouldn't go over as well now. I did that once at preschool. Stopped at the bathroom door to drop my pants before going inside to use it. Don't think my classmates noticed, but a teacher did and told me not to do that. I wasn't embarrassed by it either. But I do remember thinking at that moment that just maybe this isn't quite how it's supposed to go, but I'm gonna do it anyway because convenience. Same thing happens here. The bathroom was connecting 2 classes and I was in the hall. The teacher saw and said, "We don't do that here," to which I replied, "I do it at home, so I do it here." Randomly reminds me of a time in 2nd grade I walked into the bathroom to see 3 kindergarten kids sharing a urinal. 2 of them with pants fully down lol. I walked into the bathroom on lunch break in 1st grade to find a kid in my grade facing away from the urinal, purposefully pissing all over the floor. I just did the slow, backwards walk out as he looked at me crying, "Please don't tell anyone lol." Another time I came in and saw a massive shit stuck about 4 feet up on the wall. Some sticky shit for real. Grabbing all boobs cause you think they mean food. Yes. I have 3 ex-booby grabbers and 1 current offender. Be careful leaning that close to him. He may try to squish your breasts. Most likely wouldn't be taken so lightly if said offender wasn't a toddler. Running around in public naked. My 3-year-old was being potty trained at the time and I took him to McDonald's after his vaccinations to cheer him up. He had a great time until he announced to me that he wet himself. So I go to my bag to get a change of trousers and pants to hear people laughing, and I look up from my bag. He dropped his trousers and pants to the floor and was shuffling to the bathroom door with them around his ankles with a big grin on his face. Just his little butt exposed. I couldn't even be embarrassed, it was too funny. That's adorable. Now imagine that with a 30-year-old, and it's a completely different feel. Not sure if this really answers the question, but I work in an elementary school, and one day a group of 7-year-old girls ran up to me at recess asking if they could go bye-bye. I said sure, and they jumped onto the ground and pretended to sleep. A few minutes later they ran up to me asking if they could come, and I just stood there processing for a minute. I didn't need 7-year-old girls running around saying "Mister" said we can come. So I sent them to their primary teacher. I guess it wouldn't be illegal for an adult to ask to come, but I sure as hell would be creeped out. What do they mean by come? Never heard that one before. As in the opposite of bye-bye. So they run up to him asking him if they can wake up. Seems kind of odd considering they've already stopped. Opening lemonade stands on the side of the road. Nope, they'll shut your ass down nowadays. And a Karen will still somehow complain. When my brother was 5 and we had one of our voluptuous neighbors over, he went over to her and palmed both of her breasts and said, "You've got big ones, neighbor," in Portuguese. Smooth. My neighbor's kid did that to my mum. And in Portuguese. "Oh, tu garisto errero. Como estas amigo?" One time when I was little, early 2000s, I accidentally faxed a picture of Geodude from Pokemon to the police from my grandma's fax machine. The picture was still in there because my grandma made copies of all my drawings, and I thought the fax machine was a phone, so I tried to call 911. In the end, I dialed the police and sent them a picture of Geodude with zero context. My grandma wasn't happy about it. LMAO. "Sir, what is it? Something's telling me this is going to be a hard case, chief." Oh, this comment brought literal joy to my life. Hilarious. "I'm not sure, sir, but you'd have to have rocks in your head if you couldn't figure this out." I remember when I first moved to my new house, one of my neighbors, who had autism, somehow broke into my house and started looking around. The next day he apologized and said to me he looked cute doing it as a kid, but now he is 17, it's just scary. Edit. I forgot to say that his dad was the one who apologized. Oops. My ex had a family friend in a similar situation. Their son was in his 20s, but, mentally, around that of a 4-year-old. He had a hard time understanding boundaries, and that people don't like their bodies being touched. My sister used to go to Special Olympics for equestrian stuff with this place that taught special needs kids horse riding. One of the parents abandoned me, without asking, with their very special needs daughter, who was 23, but looked 14 and acted 8. Nothing quite as terrifying as being an adult male with a child that looks underage holding your hand, trying to kiss you, and touching you all over because she just doesn't understand she can't do that stuff with complete strangers. Edit. She did technically ask me to watch her. It's been a while, I just remembered, but it was more like, hey, watch her for me, K, thanks, bye, and she dipped around the corner before I could tell her I was not comfortable doing that.